Because Canada's always been ahead by a century. Because the Canadians often say, if New Orleans is sinking, man, and I don't want to swim. Uh, the idea at the 100th meridian, we all look at ourselves as a nation. So when Donald Trump started his 51st state bullshit and Hoekstra, the American sycophant ambassador to Canada, saying all kind of different stuff this week, thoughts have been coming, although it came out last year, the Tragically Hip documentary is getting more and more views on Netflix as we speak. Thousands and thousands and thousands. And one of the biggest hip songs is talked about a little bit in the documentary. I'm going to talk a little bit, a lot now. For many, it's a gay love song. For many, it's a love song of strength, where the constellations reveal themselves one star at a time. Now, Bobcaygeon is a song by the Canadian rock band, the Tragically Hip. Sorry to get emotional, but I miss Cordy. It was released in February '99 as a single from their sixth album, Phantom Power. It has come to be recognized as one of the band's most enduring and beloved signature songs. Now, with an R&B lilt with a little bit of kind of romantic pop rock. The song is named after Bobcaygeon, Ontario, a town in the Kawartha Lakes region, about 99 miles northeast of Toronto. The song's narrator works in the city as a police officer, a job he finds stressful and sometimes ponders quitting, but it unwinds from the stress and restores his spirit by spending his weekends with a loved one in the rural ideal of Bobcaygeon, where he sees the constellations reveal themselves one star at a time. In contrast to the city's dull and hypocritical skies that are falling one cloud at a time. In live performance, Downey typically explained Bobcaygeon as a cop love song, though the identity of narrator's beloved changed from performance to performance. In the original video, the male cop's partner is female, but Downey sometimes introduced the song in concert about being about a couple of gay cops that fall in love. According to Downey, the song was not specifically written about the town itself, but rather any small town would have worked for the theme. And he settled on Bobcaygeon primarily because the only name he could find that came close to rhyming with constellation. A secondary theme of the song addresses racism and anti-Semitism. Downey has sometimes introduced the song with this one asks the question, evil in the open or evil just below the surface. And Rob Baker's guitar has This Machine Kills Fascists written on it in the song's video. In the song's bridge, the British rock band The Men They Couldn't Hang are performing a concert at Toronto's Horseshoe Tavern with its checkerboard floors when they began to perform their song Ghosts of Cable Street, which is about the Battle of Cable Street, not the riot in London in '36, in an Aryan twang. A similar brawl or riot appears to erupt between fascist and anti-fascist activists in the audience, which then weighs heavily in the officer's mind as he drives back to Bobcaygeon in the final verse. In the video, however, the brawl is visually depicted as occurring at a concert by the Constellations. A common interpretation is that the lyrics obliquely reference the Christie Pitts riots of 1933, which arose from tensions between Toronto's working-class Jewish community and anti-Semitic swastika clubs following a baseball game. Although the song's otherwise contemporary setting leaves the interpretation in question, a similar, albeit less famous public brawl between the Heritage Front and the anti-racist action did occur in '93, just a few years before Downey wrote the song. The song won the Juno Single Award of the Year for 2000. Now, the Heritage Front, ladies and gentlemen, if PP, our leader of the Conservative Party, has been known to say a throw support to that organization, people of Alberta and Saskatchewan and Manitoba, some of the politics. So that's how it's weird. You see the Heritage Front as pro-Conservative Party people, and, that's how it lies right now. Now, much of Bobcaygeon video was filmed at a house in Scarborough, Ontario on Beer Road, a location formerly used in Canadian TV productions, including Anne of Green Gables and Road to Avonlea. Unfortunately, the house burned to the ground in a fire in 2007. Now, former Much Music and CBC personality Laurie Brown made an appearance in the video as a TV reporter. Of course, she was part of the Corey Hart video universe for years. Now, the song did result in the town of Bobcaygeon coming to occupy which has been described as a mythical place in Canada's collective imagination as the archetype of a Canadian cottage country paradise. In 2011, the band performed their first ever concert in Bobcaygeon, a town ordinarily too small to hold a concert by a major touring rock band. Toronto Star music critic Jason Anderson described the performance of the song at that concert as a moment of Canuck rock significance that's roughly equivalent to Roger Waters doing Pink Floyd's The Wall in Berlin. Now, following the band's unfortunate announcement in 2016 that Downey had been diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, both the Toronto Star and Maclean sent journalists to the town of Bobcaygeon to write about the residents' feelings about the song and the announcement. On the final night of the Man Machine poem tour, which saw the band's concert in their hometown of Kingston broadcast nationally by CBC, the town held a public viewing on its main street. In addition to local residents, the event was also attended by a significant number of people who had made a pilgrimage to view the concert there because of the song. The concert under the Constellations was the largest public event in the town's history, and it garnered more widespread media coverage than any other public viewing party anywhere in Canada outside of Kingston. It was also a fundraising initiative at the event, which resulted in the largest single tour-related donation to the Canadian Cancer Society. Terry Fox, 40 years later, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Zoomer Medio called it one of the 10 best Canadian songs of all time, but it doesn't really count now because Moses Neimer is a PP supporter. The sound is also in the soundtrack for Trailer Park Boys, the movie, and Bubbles, Ricky, and Julian have always been big supporters of the Tragically Hip and did a video with them years ago as well. Now, various covers through the years: Damned Doyle, Justin Rutledge, Dallas Green, of course, of City in Color. Blue Rodeo did a version that included mandolinist Bobcaygeon, who at the August 20, 2016 concert, it was his last public performance with the band. The Canadian indie rock band Paper Lines posted an a cappella rendition of the song to their YouTube page in 2016. Now, the various artists as well, Rio Statics did a version. Scott Hellman, Midnight Shine, did versions as well at Juno 365. 2018, the Canadian indie folk band Reuben in the Dark recorded a cover as a charity single for Gord Downey and Chandy Wenjack Fund. T. Buckley and Mariel Buckley released a cover in 2022. And in May 2024, American rock band Pearl Jam interpolated parts of Bobcaygeon into her own 1993 single, Daughter. In 2024, country singer-songwriter Owen Rigling covered the song as an Amazon Music exclusive. Now, on September 5th, 2024, was one of three songs, alongside A Head by a Century and Grace 2, performed by Choir in a public sing-along, following the premiere of the documentary series The Tragically Hip, No Dress Rehearsal, at the 2024 Toronto International Film Festival. Now, the weekly charts: Canadian RPM singles, number 3, RPN Rock, number 2, RPN Adult Contemporary, 43, year-end chart in Canada, 2016, 27, and year-end chart 99, like the RPM charts, 78. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the song itself is like a quiet allegory to what Gord was going through at the time. He was not doing the shaman on stage. He was going more acoustic. He was going more determined. And we're glad to say, behind the tracks, we've done a lot on the American artists, but for a short while, we're going to do a little bit on Canadian. We're looking at Neil Young, Pocahontas, Anne Murray. We're going to do a little bit about that. So if you're an American, as a fan of a Tragically Hip, thank you very much. But as an American, you don't really get it, and you'll never get it, because unless you're Canadian. That's what I hope you take this the right way. If I stood up as the Prime Minister of Canada and I said, well, the American border don't exist, and the United States should be our 11th province, what the fuck do you think would happen to me? Like I said, I have to say this. Not saying the Tragically Hip said it, but I'm saying you got to say a fuck you to people who think Canada don't exist. And like Pat Boone recently bragging up Charlie Kirk, not recognizing the fact that Charlie Kirk wants us off the planet, or wanted us off the planet before he got a bullet. That's why a lot of people in the States think we shot him. We don't shoot nobody. We let the States do that. And if you don't like it, ask Shawn Michaels why he raped our flag in 97. Or why they were the referees were against our female hockey team in 2002. And allegedly Team USA had our flag on their dressing room floor. Well, Haley Wickenheiser said we want to sign it. Look how we're doing at rugby this week with Olivia DeMerchant and the rest of Team Canada at the Worlds. It's been tremendous. You see, you got to understand, if you don't stand up for something, you fall for anything. And Canada has been a beautiful country for years. We don't need the states telling us we have to be like the states. We're going to say this: live your own life, go fuck yourself, and like the Tragically hip, put the finger up all the time. That's my finger to you. We don't hate you, but just get the fuck out of our backyard and go home. Any American tourist comes to Canada, you're welcome. But if you start that bullshit, we're going to kick you back. So I mean, and maybe make you listen to Tragically 24 hours a day to get the Satan out of you. You know, the state sees an exorcism right now because you have no personality, so that'll give you a personality. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing on Behind the Tracks and my diatribe, yes, the United States is not the greatest country in the world. We are. I'm leaving these comments open so I can ban anybody that says no. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen. As we like to say in shinny hockey in Canada, keep your stick in the ice. Have a good one. Bye.